Hey guys, welcome back to Top 5 Scary Videos. You will notice that I'm not alone today. I have a friend.
Hello.
This mysterious friend.
Yes, very mysterious.
Who are you, friend?
My name is Keegan, and I am the new host on Top 5 Scary.
Exciting times. Today we're gonna do a video together. Leave some love in the comments for Keegan, and with that, let's just jump right into the video.
Since time immemorial, people have been afraid of what lurks among the flora in the wooded areas near their homes. Stories about the ghosts and demons that haunt these all-natural labyrinths can be found throughout the ages, all across different societies. It's easy enough to get lost if you don't know what you're doing, and once you step off that beaten path, you are at the mercy of the forest. To make matters worse, once the sun goes down, anything could be hiding in the pitch darkness of the trees. Many horrible creatures make their forest their home, all with blood-curdling backstories to make their presence all the more unsettling. The last thing you want is to stumble across some horrid hellion while trying to find your bearings and get the heck out of the woods. So, like the extremely lovely people we are, we've compiled a smattering of creatures you'd be better off avoiding if push comes to shove. Here is our top 5 creatures you wouldn't want to meet in the woods. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you want more creepy content. Let's get to it.
Coming in at number 5, we have the Wendigo, also referred to as the Wetico. This is a mythological man-eating creature or evil spirit from the folklore of the Native American Algonquin tribes, based in the northern forests of Nova Scotia, the east coast of Canada, and the Great Lakes region of Canada. It is a monster with characteristics of a human or even a spirit who has possessed a human being and made them monstrous. It has been referred to as a possessing force that makes a person want to eat human flesh, found mostly in areas with a shortage of food in the wintertime. However, there are more than just one variant. The second is a northern ghoul variant. A person who eats human flesh becomes the Wendigo rather than eating flesh because they were possessed by the Wendigo. This can oftentimes be depicted as a floating humanoid figure that moves quickly with the wind, with a starved figure and a distended belly because they're always starving for more human flesh. Now the third variant is more recent, linking descriptions of Bigfoot or Yeti with the Wendigo myth, where it is a mix between human and furry. Regardless of the variant, the Wendigo is on the hunt for human flesh, making you, a mere wanderer in the woods, their prime target.
Number 4, the Yotun. Watch your back, stay away from trees with sharp branches if you ever think you've encountered one of these Nordic nature spirits. If you're not careful, you might end up as a gruesome sacrifice. Known to many as a son of Loki, this beast man thing has a shape-shifting capability and is generally pretty ambiguously defined. Often when someone is referring to a Yotun, they could be talking about a giant, or a troll, or a number of other large mythical monsters. However, today I want to make pretty sure that we are clear in defining it as a malicious, sacrifice-seeking shapeshifter. There are many Yotun out there, but it is best to be prepared for the worst of the bunch. If you've ever seen David Bruckner's movie The Ritual, you already know how horrifying Yotun can truly be. In the movie, 4 friends go on a hiking trip in Sweden in honor of their dead friend. One of them injures their knee and they're forced to take a shortcut through an unmapped forest. Always a bad call, guys, come on. Haven't you ever watched a horror movie? During their time in the woods, they come across an eviscerated deer hanging from a tree. One of the friends wakes up with unexplainable injuries, and they even find another friend praying in the nude to a wooden statue without ever realizing it. Very soon after this, 2 of the friends are taken and killed by the Yotun. The other 2 friends discover a body as they come across a village of Yotun worshippers. This is where the real scary stuff starts. They find out that the villagers sacrifice people to the Yotun in exchange for immortality and trap the 2 remaining friends. During an attempted escape, the beast reveals its shape-shifting abilities by luring one of the men with a facsimile of his wife. Then its true form is revealed, a massive, 8-legged, partially human, partially beastly, shambling monstrosity with huge antlers and bony human arms. Ready to hear how one of the protagonists gets killed? The Yotun reaches out with these bony human arms and impales the man on a sharp tree branch, leaving him to bleed out. Ouch. Coming across one of these guys in the woods means you'll likely meet the same fate. You might think that due to the size of it, it wouldn't be too fast. Well, you'd be wrong. It is extremely fast and will know the forest like the back of its terrifying hands. It's not a nature spirit for nothing. As a son of Loki, it is an excellent trickster as well, and will take the form of whatever it needs to hunt its prey. Loki seriously got around, huh? Fathering murderous forest beasts. Jeez. The impaling upon tree branches has a bit of a Norse background as well. If you've ever studied Norse mythology, you'll know that Odin hung himself from the world tree, Yggdrasil, and was impaled upon the spear in order to learn the secrets of rune magic. It's possible that the Yotun is impaling creatures and humans alike on trees as sacrifices to Odin himself. That's hardcore, but you wouldn't want to be on the receiving end. I also mentioned it having 8 legs earlier, which may remind you of another creature in Norse mythology, Sleipnir, Odin's 8-legged horse. It's all coming together. However, unless you're a Norse god yourself, I would recommend staying away from this one, and unless you like getting impaled on trees, it's your life, I guess.
Coming in at number 3, the Dullahan, also known as the original Sleepy Hollow. The Dullahan is a headless rider, usually on a black horse, who carries his head under his arm. Now, although the Dullahan is typically male, there have been some female versions throughout folklore. The mouth is usually in a hideous grin that reaches both sides of the head. Think the Joker and you're on the right track. Not only that, but his eyes are constantly moving about and can see across the countryside, even during the darkest of nights. It has been said by those who have reported sightings that the flesh of the head is the colour and consistency of mouldy cheese, which as a dairy intolerant person is revolting to me, just saying. The Dullahan uses the spine of a human corpse for a whip, and its wagon is adorned with funeral objects, e.g. candles and skulls to light the way. The spokes of the wheels are made from the thigh bones, the wagon's covering made from the worm-chewed pal or dried human skin. Now here's where things get spooky, especially for anyone tracking through the dark woods. When the Dullahan stops riding, that is when a person is due to die. The Dullahan will then call out the person's name, at which point that person will immediately perish. Now even more terrifying still, there is no way to bar the path against a Dullahan. All locks and gates open to them when they approach. They also do not appreciate being watched while on their errands, throwing a basin of blood on those who dare to do so. You have been warned.
At number 2, we have Skinwalkers. In Navajo lore, Skinwalkers are known as he who walks on all fours, powerful medicine men and witches who have acquired various supernatural powers through terrible means. Shapeshifting is one of their most well-known attributes, most commonly taking the forms of coyotes, crows, bears, wolves, cougars, and owls. They also have a tendency to appear as unspeakable chimeras with hideous amalgamations of both human and animal features. Skinwalkers begin as humans who place terrible curses upon themselves through rituals of pure evil. They're required to commit terrible atrocities, grotesqueries, and grave taboos. This can often require the killing of a family member or a loved one. When all is said and done, they're infused with the insidious curse and the awful powers that come with it. Once a skinwalker, they are often banished from their tribes for submitting to evil and left to walk the badlands and forests forever. As they traverse the wastes, they are often seen as animalistic, even in their human forms. Also, they will often travel naked. If they weren't scary enough already, there's a chance you'll come across a nude, ungodly abomination in the woods. Yikes. These monsters are extremely strong and agile in addition to their magical powers. They can use their abilities to mesmerize, instill fear, sow confusion, and even take control of another's body for a short period of time. On top of this, they're extremely difficult to kill. Unless you know their original name or have a very specific ash to coat your knife, good luck getting rid of a skinwalker. There are countless stories of skinwalkers being terrifying in forests all across North America. One story details the time a duo in Arizona came across a gigantic coyote sitting perfectly still in the middle of the road. It didn't even flinch when they drove by it and started chasing the car afterwards. It was right on the car's tail, even at 50 miles per hour. This obviously freaked the passengers out, but what happened next was absolutely bone-chilling. The coyote ran alongside the car and looked into the window with human-like eyes. Then it smiled at the driver and let out a screech before running off into the night. Yeah, remind me not to take a late night drive in Arizona. Another skinwalker story is even scarier thanks to the long-lasting consequences of the encounter. A man and his friend were on a hiking trip and got separated at some point. Hours later they reconnected, but there was something wrong with one of them. He didn't seem to be himself and seemed to not know many details about his own life. Upon returning to the city, the friend who disappeared seemed lost, like he didn't know where he was going. He was dropped off at his house and was never heard from again. This could very well be an instance of a skinwalker taking over someone's body for a very long time. Whether the friend's body was taken over or if he was killed and replaced by the skinwalker, it's hard to tell. The prospect of a loved one being taken over permanently by a skinwalker is blood-curdling indeed. So unless you want yourself or a family member being taken over, I would say avoid skinwalkers to the best of your ability. Not that you would be able to tell if you were near one.
And finally coming in at number 1, SCP-1000. SCP-1000 is a nocturnal omnivorous ape which ranges from 5 to 10 feet in height and weighs between 200 and 600 pounds. They often have grey, brown, black, red and occasionally white fur and possess large eyes with good vision, with intelligence that is on par with the common chimpanzee.
Now, SCP-1000 evolved alongside humans up until, 10,000, 15,000 years ago, when an extinction event eliminated all but 1 to 5% of their population. This event was triggered by SCP-1000 contracting an anomalous pseudo-disease which can be classified as SCP-1000-F1. This disease is passed on at the genetic level and affects every present-day instance of SCP-1000. Now, the effect of SCP-1000-F1 is as follows. Any humanoid that directly or indirectly observes any instance of SCP-1000 has a minimum 2% chance of being instantly killed through anomalous means via permanent cessation of brain function.
Meaning if you cross paths with an instant of SCP-1000 while alone in the woods, you have a high chance of biting the dust. All media reports related to SCP-1000 are to be examined for potential verifiability, and all organizations and individuals investigating SCP-1000's existence are to be kept under surveillance by Mobile Task Force Zeta-1000 and discredited or administered amnestics.
Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list?
Are there any creepy forest lurking creatures that we missed?
Leave us all your thoughts and feelings down in the comments below, and perhaps we can do a part 2.
If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. Also, be sure to give lots of love to Keegan in the comments below, because I'm done killing off Jack's clones. I need to move on to the next.
What? Well, until next time, I'll see you later.
Maybe you'll see him later.